led by Reverend Bobby Brown, Public Safety Chaplain, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father God, we come giving thee thanks for the blessings that you have started off at this day, the blessings of life and the blessings of new beginnings. We thank you, Father, for the blessings of being able to serve. We thank you, Father, for your Son, Jesus, that died for us so that we could have this moment of prayer. Now, God, we ask that you come and dwell with us. We believe, Father, what you told us. You said that you would never leave nor forsake us. So standing on that promise, we pray. Bless these your people this morning. Let them lift others up as they have been lifted up themselves. In the precious uplifting name of Jesus, we pray and we ask it all. And the people of God said, amen.
Roll call, President Small.
Here.
Vice President Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves. Here. Councilmember Woods.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's good to see everyone this morning. Welcome to our February 4th, 2025 meeting. At this meeting, we do have rules. At this time, I ask if anyone have any type of electronic device, please at this time put on the off of the vibrate position, the off of the vibrate position. Any person that is desiring to address the Mobile City Council must sign in indicating the resolution or ordinance of public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must give his or her name. Any person that is desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk's office no later than 2 o'clock p.m. the Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to express to the Mobile City Council must be identified and pertain to the city of Mobile business. Anyone who has not given proper notice to the city clerk office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item will not be allowed to address this council. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates that your time has expired. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to the chair who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there shall not be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. Madam Clerk.
Communications from Mayor Stimson.
Good morning. Good to see everyone. Thank you for coming. Just have a couple of announcements today. First one, I want to wish Volkert Incorporated happy birthday. They're 100 years old today, which is an outstanding achievement. That firm started in New Orleans 100 years ago. One of their first projects, though, was in Mobile in 1926, if I understand it correctly, building the causeway. And ever since then, they've been engaged in our communities. The headquarters are here. And anyway, we're tremendously grateful for all that they do in this region. And just, again, happy birthday to them. I also want to give a huge compliment to everybody that was involved in the Senior Bowl festivities this past weekend. You know, from the Senior Bowl Board of Directors to their leadership team that makes everything happen on that day, the University of South Alabama coordinating the game itself, to our hoteliers who are doing what they do. I mean, it's a community effort, and Mobile really shined this past Senior Bowl season. So huge thank you to them for what they do. And this, as we know, Friday the 14th, Valentine's Day, will be our first parade. We have been making plans for, I guess, over the last several months, actually, in anticipation of that. But we think that we're teed up for it. But for the citizens that wants to know what's going on, you know, for the last couple of years, we've had a Mardi Gras dashboard. And each year we try to improve that dashboard so that if you're interested in what's going on, that you can go to that dashboard and get current, up-to-date information having to do with the schedules, the routes, safety tips, parking information. And there's a live feed for every parade. I see Assistant Chief, Deputy Chief Jones has just showed up, maybe just in time to, and I've got your talking points here, maybe Major, to introduce the Officer of the Month, okay?
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, staff, City Council. It's my privilege to present to you Mobile Police Department's Officer of the Month for the month of December. Officer Joshua Weaver joined the Mobile Police Department in December of 2012 and has been assigned to the 2nd Precinct Crime Team since September 2023. Officer Weaver has proven himself to be an invaluable member of the Mobile Police Department by relentlessly pursuing subjects wanted for various crimes committed by the City of Mobile. For the month of December 2024, Officer Weaver assisted patrol units in answering 20 calls for service and 10 felony arrests and 2 misdemeanor arrests. Officer Weaver regularly works with the other crime detail detectives from all divisions of the department, as well as the task force officers of various partner agencies to assist in search warrants and criminal apprehensions. Just to give you a quick highlight of some of the crimes that he had people arrested for is robbery first, felon in possession of firearms, financial exploitation of the elderly, fraudulent use of debit cards, as well as other sexual crimes as well. It gives me great pleasure and great privilege again to present our Officer of the Month, Officer Joshua Weaver, for December 2024.
Congratulations to you.
Truly, being the mayor, there are certain things that you do that you otherwise wouldn't do, and being able to visit with the officers prior to them coming down here to get some of their insight into what they do and why they become policemen and what they think about their job. It gives you insight into, gives me insight into how grateful I am for what they do. But it was I think it was, he just walked out the door. It was the Texas Rangers movie that, TV show that he used to watch that inspired him to be a policeman back in the day. And he absolutely loves his job. He loves the things that you can't plan on. Every day, he said, is different. And as he called it dynamic. And he said you can't just do that in every job. Anyway, so once again, we're just grateful for all our police officers and those that get recognized as Officer of the Month. That is a special deal. So, Mr. President, that concludes my remarks.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals, we have requests for waiver of the noise ordinance on March the 2nd and the 4th on Spring Hill Avenue, March the 8th on Helveston Street, February 14th, and March the 4th on Spring Hill Avenue, March the 2nd on Augusta Street, March 2nd on Rickaby Place, March the 3rd, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, March 22nd in Mardi Gras Park, February 22nd, South University Boulevard, February 15th in Levretta Park, March the 29th in Langen Park, and May the 3rd in Langen Park Pavilion.
So moved. Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Bill passes.
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to declare the structures at 2661 Bentley Street, 1220 Satchel Street, 315 Burton Avenue, 1910 Eline Street, 2002 Good Street, 401 Lexington Avenue, 3211 Valley Road, at 709, formerly known as 707 South Carolina Street, public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
This opened up the public hearing for these particular said items. Is anyone present that would like to address the council on these items? If not, these public hearings are closed.
Today is the public hearing to determine whether the Mobile Tourism Improvement District should be continued, modified, or terminated.
This opened up the public hearing for this particular item. Is anyone present that would like to address the council on this item? Come out to the podium by stating your name.
Morning, Kent Blackington. Appreciate everybody's time this morning, City Council's time. I think everybody's pretty familiar with what we're doing or what we're trying to do today. We're excited to potentially be the first city in the state of Alabama to renew a tourism improvement district. We were the leaders in the state by forming this district 5 years ago. Since then, 2 other cities in the state, Florence up in Muscle Shoals and Montgomery, have passed TIDs. So we're hoping to be the first one to renew it. Excited to share, though, that this process takes the hotel owners agreeing to assess their guests and take a self-assessment, and they all have to agree to do this. I'm excited to share that we have more support for the renewal of this TID than we did for the formation. We have more properties that have signed on. We have a bigger percentage of what the assessment is. So what that tells you, the results are there. They're shown. We have the support of the hotel community. We're able to see and do things and put things out there from a marketing perspective that we've never been able to do in the past. I think the highlight might be the online travel agency advertising. If you don't know, that's Expedia. Expedia is the largest lodging booking site in the world. When we advertise those for the city of Mobile and for every single hotel that's within the district, we can prove and we can track exactly how much revenue goes to each hotel, which means they see an ad, they click on it, they go to that hotel's website, they book a room. And we've been able to supply that to every single hotel in the district. And I believe, maybe wrong here, but 60 out of the 63 hotels in the district saw revenue from those advertising. So when we share that with the owners, they know that we're doing things for them that help their business. So we have detailed data now that we've never had, so we target that marketing. We have more digital awareness, more photography, more video. We are streaming commercials on the YouTubes and the Hulus of the world in target markets that we know. We're excited about this public-private partnership. We recognize as a hotel community the investment that the city's making in all of these new investments from Amtrak to obviously the arena, the airport move, the cruise ship marketing. We're able to assist in marketing all of those things. It goes back to you can have a bunch of nice, brand new, shiny toys, but if you don't have the batteries to power those toys or the marketing behind it, they just end up being nice, shiny new toys without any power behind them. So we're excited to be here today and get this renewed. And if there's any questions I can help answer at this time, I'm going to have Margot, the Vice President of the Lodging Corporation, come up and share some more details with us if there's any other questions at this time.
Council? All right, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Is anyone else who would like to address the council on this particular said item?
Good morning, Margot Gilbert. Thank you so much for having me here today. Just to reiterate what Kent Blackington said, the marketing efforts for the TID are to go alongside of what we're doing here in the city already. 75% of the finances from the TID will go directly towards marketing. We believe that we're very accountable with our marketing efforts. In fact, if everything that you see that we do has an ROI, and we're sure that we keep that information in front of our ownership groups and our hoteliers as well. The other part of our TID is our capital reinvestment. We had invested capital funds from the TID into Heritage House, brings business into the city. We've worked on reputation management for our hotels. We're working on a beautification project out in Tillman's Corner. We've purchased volleyball courts and tennis courts. All of our capital is very strategically put together, so it brings in business into the city. So again, we've also put security into different hotels throughout the city, in the Beltline and in Tillman's Corner, and that just helps the reputation of the hotels, keeps our guests happy, keeps our city safe. So we're working alongside of you. So again, just thank you for the opportunity, and if there's any questions I can answer for you, please let me know.
Questions from the council? Thank you so much.
Mr. President.
Mr. Penn.
Thank you. I don't have any questions, but I do have a statement to Kent, Margot, and the rest of the team. Just thank you all so much for everything that you all have already done, marketing the great city of Mobile, but we need more funds to be able to continue to do this marketing. I tell people all the time, most people don't know, I was a recording artist back in the day, but I ain't have any funds to market. So y'all don't know that. It's on iTunes right now. So if you don't have the funds to market something that you believe that's amazing, which I thought my recording career was, but no one would know. And so we're building, we have all these great things coming to the city of Mobile, and we need the funding to be able to do that. And with the Mobile Tourism Improvement District, I think this gives us the opportunity to do it. We were the first to do it in the state, and I'm excited to keep it moving forward. So thank you all so much for everything that you do for the city of Mobile.
Mr. President.
Vice President.
I will second what my colleague just said. I don't know anything about his ill-fated music career, but you all have done an amazing job with the downtown and tourism district and what you have brought to the table as far as marketing and promotion for all of the hotels in the city that are part of this. So thank you very much. And I agree 100% that more money is due for the marketing and promotion, advertising. So I hope that we will get this settled fairly quickly and we can move on and get it done. But again, thank you all, everybody that is here today. Thank you for what you do.
Is anyone else who would like to address the council on this particular said item?
Thank you, Mr. Small. I'll be brief. Echoing the sentiments of those who came down, we want to see the continuation of this as well. We know we need more resources to be allocated towards it. I would just like to ask that we can maybe look at the unassigned fund balance, some of those unallocated resources that are in place, and let's look to put more incentives in position for these entities, and not necessarily taxing them in a sense that might be a hindrance to the bottom line and to the contribution that they're making to our city. So again, we do want to echo the ideas that were placed before here. We need to support this district, but let's find different ways that we can allocate more resources towards, and I suggest we look at the unallocated fund balance. Thank you.
Is anyone else that would like to address the council on this particular said item? If not, this public hearing is closed.
Ordinance is held over. Oh, I'm sorry. Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Sabrina Mass regarding Resolution 01107.
Good morning, Sabrina Mass. I'm here to speak on 01-107. I spoke on it last week, but I just want to clarify for the record, if I may. Council asked me a question. Well, he made a statement that I need to contact the Sheriff's Department to get more answers on the concern. However, you know, I'm not sure why that I have to contact the Sheriff's Office when that is on the City Council agenda for funding. And again, I'm saying that my point is people should look closely at this, at the Constitution of the Fourth Amendment and the Supreme Court cases. And also from my understanding, they're saying that the people, the individuals that may need these ankle monitors, they have to give consent. So my question is, are they gonna have attorneys present to make sure that their rights are not violated in the midst of getting these ankle monitors? Because if they're telling them, oh, you have to either get the ankle monitor or you have to stay in jail, that's pretty much a coercion and maybe duress. That could be signed under duress. Because if you go back and be careful, if you go back and ask these individuals down the line, if they signed it willingly because they knew their rights, more than likely, most of them are gonna say no, which will entail some more legal situations. So I'm just saying, I'm not here to make the decision because it's the decision is up to you. But again, be careful with this ankle monitor situation with the sheriff's department. And it's nothing against Sheriff Birch because he's doing a great job in the city as far as I'm concerned. But I'm speaking as a citizen saying, because this is on the agenda for taxpayers, this also can include the city council and the county into an injunction that's being threatened to be filed. And I believe that it will be filed if it passes today. So be careful on what you pass today. Thank you.
Mr. President, the statement that was asked last week.
You can sit down, Ms. Match.
Yeah, the statement that was asked last week was there's someone here who already has the contract or that has the ability to get the contract. The statement was made so that the understanding was is that the city council nor the administration chose who received the contract. It was a professional services contract which the county chose in the sheriff department and not the city council. The overall budget for the monitoring is $1.6 million, in which the contract or intergovernmental agreement has asked the city to be a portion of, which the city pays half of or agreed to pay half of it. That being said, is that, and the reasoning behind that is that the city probably holds more than 50% of the population of the county itself, and that's why they asked us to have that agreement. So it wasn't about the people, it was about the contract in that response and who actually issued the contract. The city council nor the administration issued the contract. Thank you, Mr. President.
Madam Clerk.
Reggie Hill regarding ordinance resolution 65003, 34004, 01086, 01107, 08125.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. To the citizens and stakeholders in Mobile, greetings. Reggie Hill is my name. Let's begin, please, with 65-003. This is the mayor's salary increase. We know that it's common for citizens to take a position, and you all vote against it anyways. We saw this with annexation, redistricting, Lab People Stadium, and the Civic Center. So we won't be surprised if this is a rubber stamp per usual. However, many of us believe that this gives a unique leverage to the person who may be coming into this position from Mr. Stimson in the next set of municipal elections. So we need to be very careful when we're deciding this, because that may have a role to play in how we make decisions here down at these meetings. Let's look at 34-004. This is the lodging tax. I am grateful for the gentleman from District 4 urging you all to hold this over. The notion, however, from the previous meetings was that we were pregnant with these two projects, with the Civic Center and the airport. And this is not against any of my pro-life friends, but I think it's about time for us to abort. We don't have the resources in place to take care of these projects. And if we look at what the lodging tax does here in the city of Mobile, most of the HBCU events are the ones that are bringing in the most revenue. So the idea is that we're going to increase this, and then we're going to put these resources towards projects that don't really benefit the people who are contributing the most dollars. So I think that this is something to consider. And as we all know, not the U.S., but the Alabama Supreme Court just recently this week sent in information regarding this case with the Civic Center. So you have 21 days to get that presented to us. Maybe we can get some answers by then. Let's look, please, at 01, that's 086. This is the Global Spectrum. I asked this question last week. Does bringing a management group on dissolve the Civic Center board? And no one asked this. Now, by city code, that's what it says. So if it's something that's different or something that's been amended, I think the public needs to know that. And as well, this is like $73 million to bring a group in when we used to do this for free with 7 citizens from the city of Mobile. So we need some clarity on why we're taking this abrupt move doing this. And last week it was also mentioned when these matters were brought up that we were threatening people and attacking folks. This is city business. Please don't take this personally. And it makes sense to why we're seeing the things happening in our streets. If you are so pressed about 180 seconds, and that's kind of why we're having the results that we're having. So we need to look at that. We're not attacking people. We're not taking this person. We're just speaking on the business. Let's look at 01, that's 017. This is the anchor monitoring. How are we giving money to something, but we don't know who the contract is going to? That's the piece that I think Ms. Masters wanted to address. It's not the idea that you don't have the ability to do that. It's just we're going to just give money away and not really know what's going on. The 08, that's 125. This is the kits for the fire department. We should never consider disregarding that I would say that cap we have on the $15,000 when Mr. Mans was president, it used to be $5,000. Who knows what people will start doing? If we had upwards of 20 and 25 and $100,000, you can just do whatever you want. It doesn't have to come before this body. Somebody like me would say if it's a penny, it needs to come down here because it's the taxpayer resource. That's something we'll have to consider. There's some other matters I'd like to address, but we know the time is not allowed. Thank you for yielding the floor.
Mr. President.
Mr. Penn.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Mr. Hill for coming down and Ms. Mash for coming down. I always appreciate constituents having the opportunity to share their concerns, their thoughts, but just want to kind of bring some clarity to some of the statements. When you, you talked about annexation, redistricting, all the things that we have passed, UDC, I can't remember. You kind of talked about a lot of stuff. Everything we did major here in the city of Mobile, and you say we went against constituents. For me, if you can show me valid proof of, just because you make a statement doesn't mean the whole city of Mobile is supporting you. We have received support from people that supported those issues as well. I think one person doesn't say that because I come up here every Tuesday and say this, the rest of the 200,000 residents is standing behind me because I don't see 200,000 standing, or I don't see a petition of 200,000 names, and I haven't received those emails that stated what you're saying. And in my meetings that we went throughout the district didn't say what you're saying. So I think putting that narrative off is false. The second thing you stated is that about the city being pregnant. We are pregnant. We have a project that I believe that we need to complete, the Civic Center. I believe we have a project with the airport that we need to complete. One, you spoke about HBCU games. You talked about things in our community. We will have more people coming to the city of Mobile if we had an airport that had lower ticket prices. Right now, we have a conference that's coming to the city of Mobile, which you probably don't know about, but it's from the African American community, one of the largest denominations coming to the city of Mobile, and they're having issues because of the ticket prices. It's the first time that they're coming to the city. So if we had lower ticket prices, we actually would have more people here in the city and more people spending money. Now, if you look at our HBCU game, which our games are played at Last Stadium, it wasn't at full capacity. I believe if the stadium, if we had lower ticket prices, it would be at full capacity because people can fly in the city of Mobile and enjoy our games and enjoy everything that we have. So creating these projects is going to benefit the HBCU experience. It's going to benefit everything that we have to offer here in the city of Mobile. But thank you so much for coming and sharing your opinions and your thoughts. But I did want to bring some clarity to some of those statements. And I appreciate you coming every Tuesday. Thank you, Mr. President.
And just for clarification, I was appointed to the Civic Center Board back in '09, and the Civic Center Board is an advisory board, not a policy-making board. So they don't make policy. It was only advisory. We were just only being advised of what's going on at the Civic Center. Madam Clerk.
Ordinance is held over. 65003, fix the mayor's annual salary.
So moved.
Second. Properly moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilor
Since
Carroll.
I told you guys this at pre-council, I asked the general public to respond to me either by text or by email or phone call. In those phone calls, texts, and emails, I think I received right about 300, right about 300 of them. The majority of the 300 were just flat out no, or they were of the decision that some increase would be okay, but a $70,000 increase was somewhat troubling. 30 of them, no, 28 were definitely yes. 70 were marginal, and the others were just kind of out there. Now, when I take into consideration the 300 that were received, and you look at the total makeup of the district, you're talking about less than 1% of the district that actually responded to the request. And probably of the voting population in the district, you're looking at about 2.5% of the voting population that actually responded to the request. So it's a small sampling of the district itself. Where I look at this, and this is, I guess, a personal point of view, is that public service is about public service, and employment is about employment. And making the statement sometimes that says that if we raise the mayor's salary, then we attract better people or more people to run for office. My concern is that when we start to raise a salary for people to run for office looking for gainful employment instead of public service, then I become concerned because we don't necessarily know who or what we're going to get running for office sometimes. That concerns me. I do know that what our salary ranges down here are low. I do understand that. I do know that this council is supportive of this initiative right now with a total of 6 other than myself. And I think that sometimes when the council tells you 6-1, that you need to kind of look at what you're thinking about because they may know collectively something that you don't in this case. But I firmly believe that we shouldn't be raising a salary for the hunt for potential. We should be raising a salary for the hunt of real people that are dedicated to public service. I mean, when look at it in terms of an athlete, and I look at this like right now, the NFL salaries for these incoming kids are based on potential of what they're going to do. Some of them get out there and they flounder in their first 3 weeks and they've spent millions of dollars on somebody that doesn't even work, so they have to cut them and get rid of them. We can't cut and get rid of an administrator or a mayor until the next election cycle if it's not somebody that's conducive to what the city truly believes in. So our challenge is going to be now more so than ever with this passing today to make sure that whoever's running for public office, that we take a deep look into the ability and what they can truly do as far as public service. Because God knows I don't want to see someone that's truly running for gainful employment over public service. Mr. President, I would like to say no, but in face of the council wanting this to be yes, then I will abide by the council and let this go today. But I truly, again, say that all of us need to be prudent in what we do, because gainful employment versus public service, you know, that's the question that is on my mind right now. That is the question. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other discussions?
Mr. President?
Mr. Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I want to thank my colleague for putting that information out to his constituents. I have received information as well. It has been both-sided. For me, I explained my reasons. They asked me why. And from those discussions, some of them was able to understand the difference. So here was my reason. When you look at the mayor, they oversee the city of Mobile. They are the CEO of a company. And I understand it's totally two different things of a CEO and a public servant. And if we were looking at a CEO, it would be way more than this based on the amount of the money. But when you think about right now, the salary at 125, 35 people in the city of Mobile makes more money than the mayor. 35 people in the city of Mobile makes more money than the mayor. Another thing that came to my mind is that recently I was watching on the news how you have certain people in Congress can't afford to even live in the city, that they have to live in their office. And when you kind of start looking at the public office, you start realizing that most people who run for office, they're wealthy because they can afford to do it. I think sometimes when you make the salary higher, you give people an opportunity to do it. And so some of the questions were, well, let's look at the income of a person that's a firefighter. So when you look at that, I think you have to be realistic. You can't look at the income of the starting salary of the firefighter. You have to look at the person who is running that department. So if you're looking at that person who's running the department, 9 out of 10, that person is making more money than the mayor. Now, if you say, let's look at the police officer, and you say, well, let's look at the police officer. They're serving the community, but the police officer, you can't just look at the starting salary of the police officer. You got to look at the head of the department. And if you look at the head of the department, then that person is making more than the mayor. Then you can say who I believe should make more money than anybody is teachers. I was a former educator. I think they should have the highest salaries of what teachers make. So when you take a teacher's salary, but you can't just look at a teacher, I ain't going to go to the highest, but let's just start in the school alone. The principal of a school, who we consider our community leaders. I remember my principal at John L. LaFleur, Mr. Marshall, the greatest principal in the world, which I believe could lead this city. But in this time, he couldn't even come and run for mayor because that would have been a pay cut. So people in our own city who we consider leaders, who have families, who have children who they are trying to send to school, who if we ask, hey, I believe that they could lead our city, they couldn't even do it because it would be a pay cut for them. Leaders in our community. I think it's an opportunity to give people a chance to lead. People like a firefighter, people like a police officer, a teacher, who one day will grow and be in these different leadership positions and may one day want to be a mayor. I was an educator, 22 years old. And so I look at these roles and I think this is an opportunity to put a position in place. And I'm telling you, since becoming a public servant, I'm not the mayor. And the city council position is considered part-time. And I'm telling you, it is not part-time at all. Every time I go somewhere, somebody asks me about paving the street, something is going on. I can imagine the stress it is being the mayor of a city. They're over a department. They're over the MPD. During this time, we had police officers that lost their lives for serving this great city. And guess what? The mayor has to make that phone call and go talk to them. They're on 24/7. Firefighters running in the building, if something happened, the mayor has to go talk to that family. 24/7. And so for me, that's the reason for me to make that decision today. So I understand what my colleague is saying. I understand what everybody, but when I put everything in place, I think it's well deserved. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr.
Vice
President.
President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to my colleagues on the council for your remarks. And I think we all are of pretty much the same opinion today. And I believe the mayor's salary should be increased. The salary should certainly mirror the responsibilities of the office, the size of the budget that the mayor has to oversee, and of course, the size of the workforce. But the question has been for us, how much? How much is appropriate? One of the issues is that by law, we, the council, have to approve the pay raises for all of us and the mayor, but we can only do it every 4 years. We can't do it in increments like we do for our employees who are merit system employees. You know, we can give them a raise every year in the budget, but the council can only do it every 4 years. So sometimes when you see like this proposal, you might get a little sticker shock. But then again, we're having to fill in the gaps for when we didn't give raises. Back in 1985, when our form of government was changed, the salaries for everybody were set low. So all this time, all along the way, we have found ourselves in a position of playing catch up. For all of our employees, you all remember when we gave raises to our first responders because they were leaving at alarming rates. We had to do something to try to bring them up to be more competitive. Well, it's the same thing with the mayor. We've gone through some really tough economic times over the years when we couldn't give any raises at all. Of course, that just exacerbated this catch-up game we've been playing, but times have changed. We have found ourselves in really good financial shape thanks to the administration, and I think the council too plays a role in that in working with everybody. So paying our employees competitive salaries and continuing to provide those raises and retain our experienced and dedicated employees citywide is something that we're trying to do. And I think we're being much more successful. While the mayor's salary does need to increase, some of us had been a little hesitant with the amount, but it's really not out of line when you go back and think about what we have been through to get us here, especially with what's expected of the mayor today. It wasn't like this back when I started on the city council. Things have really, really increased at a very fast pace. It's a 24/7 job with tremendous stress and responsibilities. On any normal day, the mayor might be negotiating with a CEO of a foreign corporation, trying to get them to move their manufacturing plant to Mobile, or traveling to Montgomery or to DC to lobby for funding for our new airport or for the I-10 bridge, or even working with community leaders on how best to fight gun violence among our young people, or meeting with Mardi Gras organizations, assuring them that the Civic Center will be built on time. The list really does go on, and that's just a normal day. So the mayor's job, just like the council positions, like you've heard from all of us, is truly about public service. We can't pay all of these people enough money to do these jobs. If we did, like Mr. Penn was saying, it'd be a lot more money than what we're looking at today. But again, being mayor or even being on the city council is not about climbing that corporate ladder. If anybody is running for mayor or even for city council, just because they like that big salary idea, they think it's a big salary, or just because they need a job, they're not running for the right reasons. This is public service. You have to have a calling, you have to have a heart for the job. Mr. Penn mentioned something about being able to afford to live. We can't only have wealthy people who take these jobs, because then there is no chance for anyone else. But we have to be able to pay the bills. The mayor needs to be able to pay his bills, her bills, and take care of their family. We can't go back to 1985 and, set the salaries higher so we don't have these gaps anymore. But we can do something to make adjustments, to fill that gap, and we can do that today. We don't need to keep kicking the can down the road and say, well, maybe in 4 years we'll look at it again. I think we need to go ahead and do it today, raise the salary, and make sure that whoever the next mayor is and the next mayor's on down the road will have a high enough salary in order to give them the opportunity to run and pay them a decent wage that mirrors what this job entails.
Any other discussions?
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Woods.
I appreciate all the things that my fellow colleagues have said, and really my thought process and when getting to this point of where we are with this vote, for me personally, and representing District 6 and also representing ultimately the city. When it comes down to it, in the day 1985, $65,000, the household median income was $25,000. So when initially set through the Zogby-Lyons Act, this was a CEO style pay rate or a pay grade. So fast forward, the days of Greeno, Mims, and Doyle, and even Mayor Outlaw, the responsibilities that are laid on the shoulders of this office when it comes to the mayor are a lot higher. And in reality, looking back to the 125 that's currently the salary versus the 65 in 1985, there's not a lot of comparison. It hasn't kept up with the cost of living. So really, when walking through this, realizing that the mayor's salary and I kind of think through this a little differently. When thinking of the mayor's salary, the responsibilities, the continued responsibilities from being a cheerleader for the city, whether that's in Paris, France, or West Mobile, being a cheerleader for the citizens or the men and women that work for the city of Mobile, that has grown since 1985, and really the responsibilities. And I do realize that it is a 24/7 job. I really have heard stories. I know about our existing mayor, our current mayor, where going out to eat and people like to come up and tell him what a good job he's doing. So I do realize that the mayor is constantly on. There's no way to quantify that when it comes to a dollar, but what we can quantify is what was the existing intent when it came to establishing a salary, and what would that look like in today's dollars. An average of over from 1985 to today in 2025, averaging out the cost of living, that's roughly 2.75% each year. Some COLA raises as people who have made budgets and worked out salaries for individuals that work for them. Some COLA raises are 2% some years, and other years at 6%. So averaging that out, that 2.75 really does get you into the 190 to 195 range. I'm not going to compare other cities. I'm not going to compare what employees of the city of Mobile make compared to the mayor, but strictly for me, it was what is the cost and time value of the dollar today versus 1985, and what was the intent of the Zogby-Lyons Act. So that's where I kind of feel comfortable in really just realigning and resetting. I'm not one for wanting to go in and say, well, the mayor should get this cost lit. At this point, we just need to right size it, and that's my mindset. It's not about drawing other candidates. It's not about setting and benefiting the existing mayor, because this isn't going to apply to the existing mayor. But instead, in my mindset, this is really, again, right sizing based on the intent of what 1985 and the Zogby-Lyons Act was. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other discussions? I would just like to say I do agree with all my colleagues, from even Councilman Carroll, stating that hopefully that no one try to seek the mayor job for a gainful employment, but also popularity. Many people run for these seats for popularity. Heard from different people throughout the city that they're for it and they're against it. And some people even came to me and said, CJ, y'all need to raise it too for all y'all had to put up with on Tuesdays. But the thing about it is that many of us, I would say this council, none of us up here for no gainful employment. So we all up here for public service. And pretty much I know that we all enjoy our seats up here. But the thing about it is our jobs is limited. Many people think that the council job is more than what it actually is. But our job is limited to voting the budget up, voting the budget down, passing ordinance, passing resolutions, and being an advocate for our citizens. But everything else falls up under the mayor, from the employees to potholes in the streets, to streets need to be paved. I mean, we advocate a lot, and it seems like, I believe that sometimes, and I'm glad that Ricardo is not here today, but we overstep our boundaries, trying to advocate for our citizens, but all that belongs to the mayor. And with him being on the job 24/7, from, as Councilman Penn said, from police officers passing away to, even being involved with the school systems. I mean, actually, many school system superintendents throughout the state of Alabama make more than the current mayor, but he has more citizens that he had to respond to and more responsibility. So I am supporting this what's in front of us today. And again, we have to make sure that whoever goes into the seat and receives the pay, they deserve it. One reason why many cities fails today is because they don't have someone that's business-minded and know how to run a business. And I'm going to even go a little bit further to churches. Many churches today are failing today because not only are we supposed to be there to praise God, but this is a different day and time. They need someone that has a business mind to really to run the church. And just as well running the church correctly, we need to run our city correctly, our government correctly. And so therefore, hopefully that this brings about an opportunity to have a great candidate, not just for a mayor, just for the people and just want to see things change, and hopefully not for popularity, but also have business sense to know how to run a city productive. Any other discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass. Madam Clerk.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mayor.
I just want to say thank you. I think that for the future of the city of Mobile, this is one of the most significant moves that the city council has made. I'm tremendously grateful for the privilege of being the mayor, but everything that you've said has been correct. And I just want to make sure that we don't eliminate people that want to be the mayor for the right reason, for the service reasons, simply because they can't afford to do it. And I think the move that you made today tees us up for a bright future in that specific area. So thank you.
Well, a lot of people cannot be like you, Mr. Mayor, don't take a salary for the first couple of years, you know. Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 34004, ordinance to amend Article 6, Chapter 34, lodging tax of the Code of the City of Mobile.
So moved.
Move to lay over 2 weeks.
Oh, wait a minute, we're laying it over? Yeah, what was the date? Motion to lay over
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
February 18th.
To the date said it's February 18th.
Second.
Properly moving second in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'll lay it over 2 weeks.
CIP resolutions held over 08083, approved purchase order to TRP Construction Group for roadway thermal striping for traffic engineering.
So moved. Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
Resolutions held over 01086, authorized agreement with Global Spectrum to manage the new Mobile Arena. 01087, authorized letter of agreement with National Maritime Museum of the Gulf. 08089, approved purchase order to send some equipment for garbage truck. 08091, approved purchase order to emergency equipment professional for aerial ladder. 21092, authorized contract with Gorham Air Conditioning for HVAC upgrades at the cruise terminal. 31093, authorized the DECA CDBG local recovery plan budget. 31094, authorized the mayor to apply, accept, and receive a grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation for the PROTEC grant program for Broad Street project. 31095, authorized the community project funding grant from HUD that establishes the Senator Richard Shelby Downtown Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund. 60096 through 103 are authorizing settlement agreement and release of claims. 01107, authorized intergovernmental agreement with Mobile County Commission for a pretrial ankle monitoring program. 21084, authorized contract with Clean Earth of Alabama for household hazardous waste collection event.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moving second in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
Ordinance is being introduced for the first time, 50005.
By council rules, this ordinance will lay over for 1 week.
We're taking that to lay it over.
You want to go ahead and lay it over today till February 18th? Okay. Move to lay it over until February 18th.
Second.
Properly moving the
Yeah.
second. We
have to
suspend the
suspend the
rules. Yes.
Yeah, we got to suspend the rules to take it up.
Yes.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of ordinance 50-005.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rules are suspended. Madam Clerk.
50005, determine whether the Mobile Tourism Improvement District should be continued, modified, or terminated.
Move to lay over until February 18th.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item laid over 2 weeks.
Consent resolutions being introduced for the first time, 31108 through 4118.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of these resolutions as read.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Madam Clerk.
31108, 109, and 110 are authorizing the mayor to apply, accept, and receive grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation for fiscal year 2024 resurfacing of Brookdale Drive Northwest and South to apply, accept, and receive grant from the United States Tennis Association for new LED lights and mesh fencing at Medal of Honor Park, to apply, accept, and receive a grant from the United States Tennis Association for new asphalt for the Mobile Tennis Center. 40, 111, 112, 113, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 are declaring structures at 2661 Betby Street, 1220 Satchel Street, 315 Burton Avenue, 1910 Eline Street, 2002 Good Street, 401 Lexington Avenue, 3211 Valley Road, 709 South Carolina Street, a public nuisance, and ordering them demolished.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Penn.
I just want to tell the department, the engineering department, thank you for everything you're doing with 31108 to even look for grants like this. It's very vital. It's a resurfacing grant for the Brookdale Road in District 1. So just thank you so much for just taking the initiative and looking for these type of grants so we can apply for it to make sure that we have safer streets for our residents. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
CIP resolutions being introduced, 01-119 through 13-121.
By council rules, these will lay over for, oh, I'm sorry, this one, right? Yes.
No.
Yeah. Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of 13-121, with the rest of these being laid over for 1 week.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Madam Clerk.
13-121, authorized change order number 3 with Partan Smith for parking and accessibility upgrades at Westside Park.
So moved. Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Woods.
I do want to say thank you for agreeing to take this up today. This is a over a year and a half project, and we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. This is but also under the time constraints of the fact that closing of registrations is in the middle of February, and then also all the fun stuff that comes along with the new baseball season. So this really would accomplishing this will open the park up for accessibility, and then also the improvements and ease of parking. So I really do appreciate everyone taking this up today. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
Resolution is being introduced for the first time, 01-122 through 23-130.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of resolutions 23-128, 129, and 130.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rules waived. Madam Clerk.
23-128, authorize the mayor to apply to accept deeds for the acquisition of right-of-way track 44 for McGregor Avenue widening from Airport Boulevard to Dolphin Street, 23-129, and 23-130, authorizing the mayor to accept deeds for acquisition of right-of-way track 2 to access management and signal upgrades on Dolphin Street from west of I-65 at Spring Hill Memorial Hospital to Sage Avenue, and to accept in 23-130 to accept deed the acquisition of right-of-way track 4 to access management and signal upgrades on Dolphin Street from west of I-65 at Spring Hill Memorial Hospital to Sage Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
These involve no outlay of money on behalf of the city of Mobile. These rights of way were all donated. The first one has to do with the project on McGregor Avenue from Airport Boulevard up to Dolphin Street. And the second has to do with some proposed improvements along Dolphin Street from Sage Avenue to Rhymes Road, which will improve the drivability and include signalization.
Thank you, Councilman Days. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
Announcements.
District 1, Councilman Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. This month we celebrate Black History Month, and so each Tuesday in in the month of February, I want to celebrate something in Mobile, and so I wore my signature orange tie for the greatest high school in the world, That's John L. LaFleur. But not just for, because I believe it's the greatest. A lot of times in our inner city communities, we hear about a lot of negative things that are taking place, but we never hear about the positive things that's taking place in our city. And so I just want to highlight, most people know who John L. LaFleur, civil rights leader here in the city of Mobile, and that's amazing what he had accomplished. But what about the current achievements of people in our city? So I kind of want to highlight some people that have done some amazing things, similar to DeMarcus Cousins, gold medalist, right here in the city of Mobile. Amazing job. This past weekend, Coach Ben Harris was received Hall of Fame honors for the National High School Association, and this national in Canton, Ohio. Amazing. And he's graduated from Thomasville High School, which is now LaFleur High School. This past weekend at the Grammys, Rodgers Karstoffen received the Grammy. Again, this is multiple Grammys, right from an inner city community. Lauren Gamble, Bridgerton writer. LaJill Hunt, BET writer. And when you think about all the greatness that came from LaFleur, that's a lot of achievement. I believe right now we probably broke the record. Most people don't know this. But right now, Commissioner Matt Day on the school board, an elected official, Thomasville LaFleur High. Ford Penn, graduate of LaFleur High. That's second. Commissioner Ludgood, Thomasville, 3 current. And now Congress Shamar Figures, 4. I think that might be a record at one time for a school. All from an inner city community. A lot of great people graduated from the John L. LaFleur High School. We have 2 superintendents. The first African-American superintendent, Superintendent Threadgill, graduated from LaFleur High School. Superintendent Newell is a graduate from LaFleur High School. Academics, sports, we dominate. And so I just want to highlight the greatness that comes from John L. LaFleur. Thank you, Mr. President.
I don't know, there's a Black History Month or LaFleur history. Councilman Reynolds, District 4. District 5, Councilman Days.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to come back to our vote to increase the salary of the mayor for a minute. Most of the time when we're up here and we vote, the items are inconsequential to the long-term success of the city of Mobile. But every now and then something comes along that's really important. And I read a quote of Woodrow Wilson's over the past weekend, which really hit me. And Wilson said, "If you worry too much about being reelected, you won't be worth being reelected." So every now and then, the folks up here have to cast votes that are not welcome votes as far as their base or even a lot of people in the city of Mobile are concerned. That doesn't make them any less important. That doesn't make them any less important. One of those votes was our vote to change the seal of the city of Mobile. One of those votes was the annexation vote. One of those votes was the one we cast today. So I'd like to commend my fellow city councilors on their vote today, which is certainly in the long-term best interest of the city of Mobile. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Day. District 6, Councilman Woods.
No announcements, Mr. President.
District 2, Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. Getting back to the dates of our upcoming community meetings, our first meeting will be February 10th, and that will be at the Westside United Methodist Church at 6 p.m. I've asked our public safety director to be there. I've asked, we're going to provide information and updates on where we are with the airport and the Civic Center. And we'll also address and talk about community concerns at that time. Our second meeting is February 18th at Stewart Memorial CME Church on the Avenue at 6 p.m. Concentration on that meeting will be about public safety, doing Mardi Gras, and the concerns of the community. about the closeness of people to the floats, jumping the barricades, and the traffic jams that are created on the narrow streets. We have met with one of the members of the community and have started the dialogue and have some questions answered, but now we need to get that information out to the community and also address a few others. What else is on here? I can't see. Mardi Gras. I will be posting on my Facebook page the dates of Mardi Gras and the Mardi Gras parade routes, especially for those routes that semi or quasi affect the communities immediately downtown, Church Street East, the north end of Oakley, and communities that are really closely associated to the route. So please look for that, and I've gotten those. Also, the additional streets that have asked for no parking signs on one street. That information has gone to the administration, and they have responded stating that those actions will be taken before the parade season starts, and that will also happen. They have not made a decision yet on how to implement that, though, in the campground in those 2 blocks and also in the bottom. We'll have to discuss that further to make it work. And I believe that is it, all that I have right now, Mr. President, except for the letter sent to the administration again about Dolphin Street between Ann and Catherine. The holes in the street and the potholes are back that are being caused by the collapse of the Moss water, where there's a road patch where we addressed that once before. We need to do that again because that stretch from Ann to Lafayette is really bad, and in between Lafayette and Catherine is getting bad too. And if we can, please provide a response as to the utility contractor we said we were going to hire that will handle those issues. And I look forward to a response from that. I think I sent it to Keisha about a week ago. I need to get a response back to those neighbors that are asking for relief on that stretch of street again. I know we're dealing with Moss on this, but we need to get something done. The holes are getting pretty big. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Carroll. District 7, Vice President Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to go back to Resolution 01-120. That is an agreement to hire a design firm for a new playground and some site improvements at Lovretta Park. This is in no way a done deal as far as the design itself. This is an agreement to hire a design firm so that we may go to the community and get their input on what the new playground design should be. If you remember how old this playground is, it's older than 20 years, about 25 years when it was built. This was during Councilman Nodine's term of office. It was a community-led effort back then, and we intend for it to be a community-led effort this time. We will be meeting with members of the community around Lovretta Park to get their input on what the design should be. So if anybody was concerned when they saw this, I want to make sure they understand that yes, we have funds to put together a brand new playground, but we do not have the design yet. We will be meeting with the community so that they are able to give their input as to what exactly it should be. So just stay tuned. We'll be getting with the HOA and Community Action Group in the neighborhood when they have their meetings, and we will be coordinating to come and show some ideas and get their input. So thank you.
Anything from the administration?
Motion to adjourn.
Properly moving second, any discussion? All in favor?